Hey y'all, thanks for stopping by. So, we've got some crazy news from our peace president Donald Trump. I don't know if you remember that during his campaign and while he was on debate stages. He was the peace president. He wasn't going to get us involved in new wars. He was going to pull us out of the wars that America was involved in. Official graphics released by Team Trump described him as the pro peace ticket. And of course, now, about a year after that image was released, the same Team Trump has released a new graphic regarding our peacetime president and his renaming or reestablishing of the Department of War. I do need to clarify that as well. I realize there's some confusion about this. Trump isn't naming the Department of Defense the Department of War. Back in like 1780 something is when the Department of War was officially created. And it was the Department of War until the end of World War II. I want to say 1947 is when it was officially dissolved and we created the Department of Defense because we had some people in power who said, hey, maybe we shouldn't try to go to war with the world. Maybe what we should be doing is defending ourselves, our allies, and people in need. We created a brand new role called the Secretary of Defense, where every single head of military would report to. And that was good for about 80 years. And then we got the pro-peace ticket, Donald Trump. And I'm still waiting for the end of wars, to be honest. I know he's asked for a few ceasefires, but I see this claim all the time about how he stopped 7 wars, this arbitrary number 7 coming out of nowhere. And it's confusing to me because if you press anybody on this, they'll ask you how many wars you stopped and then accuse you of having Trump derangement syndrome for simply trying to get a figure on what wars or what conflicts this peacetime president has stopped. Just side note, don't press those people for too long because they're just going to end up calling you brown or Jewish. They're going to call you a race traitor for not doing anything you can to support Donald Trump. Now, about a year after all of these claims about the pro-peace party and no new wars, our sitting Reddit-occupied government has renamed the Department of Defense into the Department of War. This graphic was also released by the same Team Trump, and it's just so funny to look at these side by side. It's just 1 year ago and today, a year ago and today. And it's the same people in the same shoes and the same chairs typing on the same computers. Nothing has changed about what they believe except for what Donald Trump is telling them to do. These people have no sense of morals or structure. It's just anything dear leader wants. And it's not just the people in his cabinet. It's not the yes men that he has built up around him so he doesn't feel like he's doing anything wrong. Some of the more vocal right-wing talking heads will flip their positions immediately once it becomes apparent what Donald Trump wants them to say. Case in point, Jack Posobiec took to posting on the 5th of September that War Department sounds better than the Department of War. You can see here one of these doofus Wall Street bets accounts and him are having a little circle jerk about which one's going to make them sound more manly and fill their dicks up. But it should stand to note that just about 2 years ago, Jack Posobiec was losing his mind about the Department of War, calling Nikki Haley insane for talking about a Department of Defense. She wants a Department of Offense. And what's the real difference between those things, between a Department of Offense and a Department of War, unless it's just a man is telling you what you want to hear, rather than a woman who wants to be a wartime president. Oh, she didn't say she wanted to be a peacetime president. She was honest about her machinations and her desires to conquer. She didn't allow you to plausible deniability to say that you were being lied to or led astray by someone who wants to use your tax dollars to bomb people overseas, to send your young children overseas to die for Raytheon and Lockheed Martin. But I understand the desire for your plausible deniability. I know that it's hard to come to terms with the fact that you're supporting this party. Or maybe it's not for you. Lots of people are saying that this is genuinely what they voted for and this is what they want, but I find it hard to figure out what it is that you want because the things you say don't correlate with the things you believe. I'm not saying you should never change your mind or grow as a person, but when your position goes from you're insane for wanting a Department of Offense to the Department of War is so cool and it should actually be War Department instead, I just have a hard time taking anything you say seriously past that point. And it's incredibly disheartening because your fans don't seem to care at all. All throughout Biden's presidency, really once COVID hit during Trump's presidency, I've been subjected to seeing this meme about chips being replaced in a bot's head and calling all these people NPCs for falling in line with what CDC recommendations said or trusting experts and stuff like that. When the people who've been posting this stuff for the past 5 years are the most susceptible to this changeover in programming, this rewriting of their software. And all it took was a billionaire swindler from New York who talks to you like you're in third grade. It's a very weird administration we have. They're anti-war, they're the pro-peace ticket, but they like war and they enjoy doing war crimes. I just have a hard time keeping track of what it is they're exactly pumping out for their programming, but I guess until the next time they decide to do a complete 180 on their marching orders and everyone else gets in line real fast. Y'all try to have a good day.